Just wait for the recording.
Morning everybody and welcome to the Whangamatā Community Board July meeting, and we have first to ask for apologies. I understand everybody's present, so no apologies. Thank you. And the public forum, I have Mr. Stiles down. Is somebody talking on behalf of for that? Okay, and Ian Holyoke for the Stormwater Action Group. There's nothing there. And Graham, looks like you're next one up in relation to the pool. So would you like to talk, please?
Thanks. Well, good to see you back, Dave.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. So since your last visit to the pool, it's just really a pool update, so it's not lengthy. So yeah, just keeping you in the loop. So yeah, since your last visit to the pool, the tilers have laid significant number of tiles, and I'm sure the capping tiles on the nib wall will be completed by Friday. Yeah, so it's starting to look really good. So all being well, the only tiles left to lay will be where the new anchors are to be placed. So these anchors will hold the lane ropes, and their installation is an involved process. This will also be happening this week. So every step we have taken has been discussed at length with the contractor so that we achieve a result that will secure longevity for such an important asset to our town. We haven't taken shortcuts. So since the 9th of July, Dave Kirby, another committee member, and I have been helping the tilers where we can. The Friday sausage sizzle lunch for the contractors has proved to be a real winner too. So while the pool has been closed, we've also completed and are continuing to complete other upgrades that will enhance the operation and the appearance of the whole complex. So thanks go to our council and community board for your support, and of course special thanks to our truly dedicated committee members who work tirelessly to improve every facet of the pool's operation. So like I said, it's just a brief update where we're at, and like I say, it's starting to look really cool. So just waiting for the weather to warm up so that we can think about the painting after the tilers have completed their part of the project. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Graham?
Oh, we're just a general one. He's still on track for planned opening date then?
I think so, yeah, no, yeah.
Challenge, but
yeah. The tiles was a real biggie, and the painting contractors, following our progress on a daily basis. So yeah. All good.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you.
What did you? Sorry, I'm late. You're ready. It's all right. You're ready to. Yes. Okay. And you've got. How much? 10. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Community Board and councillors, for putting up with me again today. What I'm doing today is I'm seeking the Community Board's voluntary consent to appoint an independent commissioner to manage and supervise the creation of the Stormwater Master Plan and the beginning of the scoping of the projects to be done. I prepared some information here. It's hot off the press. This is not actually a big step. It might sound a negative step, but I think it should be looked at as a positive step. There's 20 odd years of resentment been building up over stormwater issues. resentment against inaction by council. And I think it would be to kick out of this door the conflicts and the skin in the game. I think it will be a very, very good positive mood for the community board to accept that a person with no skin in the game that's committed to seeing this project for our small town. In relation to, say, Hamilton City Council, who've got a very extensive master plan, we are about 3% of the population of them. So if they do a very extensive master plan, which I've got Morphin Environmental, so considered to be very good environmental scientists to prepare that plan, it's probably cost them $250,000 to produce. We just don't need to waste that sort of money because we can just piggyback on that type of master plan. And the WOC is the regional council for Hamilton City Council. So I think it would be good if we just adopted and lots of those sort of things. So I'm going to send out issue from documents. There's 2 sets of documents here. Okay. Oh, damn, they didn't staple them together. So we might have to, but anyway, I've got 2 sets of documents here, which is way too much to read now, but it'll be good reading for afterwards. So the 2 documents are my present. Right, following my last presentation at this community board, I prepared a discussion document to set in motion the issues that need exploring. And the way I see it is if I give the analogy of building consents, an owner wants to build on some property. They go to an architect or a land use person to then approach council for the permission to build. They then prepare, once they get that, they prepare plans. That goes to council. Once council approves the plans and on reasonable grounds would satisfy the building regulations and building code and building act, they give them the permission to start building. They then get a builder, engage them to actually build, and during the build process there are a number of council inspections that take place so that we and the future owners have a degree of protection that the building is being built correctly to the plans that were approved to meet the building code and act. With stormwater, it's slightly different, but it should be the same. The RMA requires in section 30 the regional council to be responsible for all stormwater. Right, so it's not the council, it's the regional council, just WOC. WOC have allowed TCDC to apply for a building consent. It's called our CSDC, Comprehensive Stormwater Discharge Consent. And that gets checked by WOC. And as it's implemented or done, WOC have a duty to inspect it. So when an alteration is made, we expect as ratepayers that we have an independent outside organisation checking what our council is doing. Then there can be no comeback if there's a failure or a defective design, because WOC are the legislative backstop for our stormwater systems. Right, so I wanted a discussion document between WOC and TCDC to see how that actually works and functions, because the CSDC is not complete. It's still an application under urgency dated 2001. Right, so we're 20 years into this. We still haven't even got WOC signing off on what we actually currently own as infrastructure. Right, so what did I get? I've had nothing in response from council from my request to have a discussion meeting. WOC responded and they said it's TCDC's issue, they're the management, they manage the stormwater. So we've got a dysfunctional organisation and a dysfunctional organisation managing for us. So I see that the most appropriate thing to do would be to get an independent commissioner to go through this and see what the hell is going on. Right, after the last community board meeting, council has set a team meeting on the 27th of July. There's a number of people from this room who have been invited to that meeting. It's to assess, decide, choose, prioritise 5 of the location maps. This is of the 11. There's a number of about 15 or so, maybe 18 work scopes that have been prepared by Meterson Council. Now, the people that have been invited to that are in no position to make a decision, in my view. The council community board member, that's Dave. Dave has probably been given less than I've been given from council because I haven't had time to send all the Lagoima requests to people like Dave. Terry, our deputy mayor, has been invited to it. Terry has prior history with this because he's been around for quite some time, and we'll discuss it in a minute. But also, there's EPL. These are the contractors that are going to do the work. That is naive to get the contractors to be part of the decision making. If it was my decision and I was given the 9.17 million, I'd actually bring Bruce and Sheridan into the room and I'd get them to do it, right? Because they're the ones that know what's going on. They're the ones that know where our pipes are. They're the ones where it floods. They drive around the streets looking at it, and so they know. But they don't get to choose the priorities. To me, that's the community board and our elected members get to choose, and they have to be adequately informed. To be informed, you need a master plan so you can understand where pipes fit into the program. Pipes are just a joke. All the pipes do is cause clutter and overloading of our pipe systems downstream. But there's proposals to put pipes everywhere. Well, we haven't got big enough pipes below them, and now we're only talking the pipes only have to be designed for a 10% event. Well, we don't have 10%.
Chair, this is going way over time. And
Well, I've got a few minutes, Mr. Goodley.
well, I think you've done that.
No,
Well, I have when you've done so.
2 minutes to go.
Yeah. Right, so there's too many conflicts. And that's my view. Right, and while Mr. Gottlieb was saying there, when we did come for assistance, as the stakeholders representatives, Mr. Gottlieb went and got a peer review done by a friend, which is nothing wrong with that, but if that person wasn't given things like the overland flow paths where they were, the amount of rain that comes out, like for instance, in 2018, Opus were engaged to recalculate the pipe sizes into the Williamson Pond, 1.05 diameter, 2 of them. Now, that was to increase the stormwater catchment area to 700,000 square metres. Right? If we have a 10% rain event, that fills the lake up for 8 minutes. At a 2%,
half a minute.
yeah. At a 2% rain event, it fills the lake up in 2 minutes. For a wetland or a wet basin to work, it needs a 24-hour settling period for the first flush. That's complete nonsense, what we've been told. And we need to get we need to get someone outside that can stand back and do this properly. According to me, since 2018, we've wasted about 1.5 million on needless infrastructure. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public speakers? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder for both Graham Smith and Ian Pollio's discussions? Moved by Neil, seconded by Terry. Thank you. All in favour, say aye. Aye. Carried. Thank you very much. Any items not on the agenda?
Yes, I've got one.
Yes.
This might seem a bit dark, but I was reflecting on how sometimes an unusual persona can bring benefit to a town, thinking of, say, the Christchurch Wizard and the impact that had on Christchurch. And I was thinking perhaps someone like a town crier would be of use to this town. We all get annoyed to some extent by Matthew Lloyd. He would be, in my view, an ideal sort of person to promote the town And, it would be quite good in terms of publicity for, if the council had something of interest that they wanted to share with the community, you get a person like Matthew Lloyd would blast it out there to the community, and he's good at being a nuisance to people and that kind of thing. So I'd like that to be considered at a future meeting, perhaps after you've had time to reflect upon it.
Thanks, Neil.
Right, thanks, Neil. Any comment on Neil's?
Good suggestion. We have to consider it.
Okay, thank you. And conflicts of interest, are there any conflicts of interest?
I have one in relation to Karakia. I'm on the committee of Karakia.
Thank you.
Speaking some. So I understand I can talk about the other applicants, but not Karakia, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
About lots of months over there. Sorry.
In relation to mine, I was a member of the Croquet Club, which is going to be mentioned further, but since we've changed and gone to town, I'm no longer a member of it, so I don't see it as a conflict of interest. Minutes confirmation. We've all had the opportunity to read the minutes of the 24th of June.
Through the chair, please note an amendment to the recommendation for the minutes on page 3, which confirms the 4 June 2024 Whangamatā Community Board minutes as a true and correct record of proceedings.
We have a move on a second.
We just said that again so we can find what you were saying.
It's supposed to read confirms the 4th June 2024 Whangamatā Community Board minutes as a true and correct record of proceedings.
You've added that to it.
I'm going to add it to it.
We're going to.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just have a question regarding them. I know we get the minutes a good 5 weeks after the meeting. Sometimes it's a little difficult to think back and check what he knows. Other committees that I'm on, the minutes come out within a week. And I'm wondering, is this standard practice for council minutes, or can we perhaps ask for them to come out earlier so we have time to reflect back?
I know this has come up before, is there any possibility they can come forward?
Quite possibly, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. So can I have a mover and a seconder for the minutes? Confirmation of the minutes.
Yeah, happy to do.
Questions of interest. The Whangamatā Information Centre and key performance measures. There is a motion before us that the Whangamatā Community Board receive the expression of interest for the Whangamatā Information Centre and key performance measures reports dated 16th of July 2024. Recommends the council approves the expression of interest from the Whangamatā Information Centre Incorporated Society to operate the Whangamatā Information Centre with a current rate of funding $54,160 for the 24-25 year, $55,322 for the 25 to 26 year, and $56,538 for the 26-27 year, as per the 24 to 34 long-term plan, and retain current KPIs, its key performance indicators, for the funding correct. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion?
Second that.
All in favour, say aye. Against, if any? Carried. Thank you.
Kirsten's here to talk to the report if anyone's got any questions.
Sorry, Kirsten, have you got anything you want to add?
Kirsten. No, I'll take the report as read. Is anybody got any questions regarding the report?
Yeah, I've got a question on that. There was discussion about additional funds, and I Before the current contract is extended, I really want to ask Graham whether it is feasible for him to continue if you don't get those other funds.
We can't have
I can't ask him.
drink or.
Because it would seem a bit daft if you give a contract and then the person who's applied for the contract decides, actually, I don't want it because I was applying on the basis that there might have been an understanding that additional funds would be available. If those funds aren't made available, then we have to start the process again. I just want to save a bit of time on that if that was possible, but it seems like it's not. So, yeah.
Right. Kirsten, you anything?
I'll just add, so the funding is as per the long-term plan, so there is no extra funding in that. So that is what we went out for expressions of interest with, yeah.
Thanks very much. We've moved on second. The right of renewal, the right of renewal for the Whangamatā Ocean Sports Club. We have a motion that the Cole, do you want to speak to that and bring the motion, or do you want me to read it? The Whangamatā Community Board receives the right of renewal for the Whangamatā Ocean Sports Club Incorporated report dated the 17th of May 2024. Recommends that the council that it approves the final right of renewal for 10 years from the 1st of August 2024 to the 31st of July 2034 to the Whangamatā Ocean Sports Club Incorporated for their ground lease located at 1100 Port Road, Whangamatā, as shown below. Any discussion on that?
I'm happy to move.
Oh, have you got anything you want to add before the
I have some questions.
Sure.
As I understand it, the Reserve Bank, in one of the schedules, it talks about the minister providing details for rental of reserve land. And I wonder if this $350, is that fixed by the minister, or can that be more? Because I kind of see that the council is shortchanging itself and only charging $350. If that's a policy that everything gets charged at $350, then I think council need to look at changing that policy and administering it on a case-by-case basis. Last year, to the 31st of March 23, Whangamatā Ocean Sports Club had a total income of $2,443,452. Bar sales were up 148,000. Restaurant sales were up 242,000. At the 31st of March, they had a bank balance of $91,000. And to charge $350, if you could charge more, we should.
Sure, I know the story here, but it's a standard lease across all operations, volunteer operations or community groups on council land.
Yeah, why?
It's a council policy, council have put it
Well,
together.
I'm raising the question. I think council needs to relook at that policy and perhaps with a view to change it. Maybe with this community board could recommend to council that council can reconsider that that proposal or that funding, because every time you hear council's got no money, council's got no money. Now here's an organisation that's got money, could pay, council could get more funds that could go to other community uses in town.
I think that's my question. Do they pay rates?
Depending on the lease they have, they are on charge rates. So
They do pay rates.
they
That's just,
Anybody want to speak to that?
Oh, well, I just know that it's policy that comes up, and when it comes up for renewal, I think you should bring those things forward if you want to discuss them, but you'll find that there's quite a few groups, and people say that that's a, entitlement that way above what it should be, but that's what it is, because that's the deal across the board. There's other groups around the other areas in Coromandel that get a similar deal. So it's just a standard policy across the council.
But should it be, is the question. I don't think it should be.
Well, you got to look at how much benefit the town gets out of it. I think that's the benefit they say for these groups, incorporated societies, the trust and that, and running around the show. Some are wealthier than others, but that's not the case that they're just on the same piece of land that the council owns and they're paying the rent. So it's a policy that was put well before our time. It's been there for years.
It is actually up for, it did actually expire at the end of 2023, so it is up for review as far as I'm aware.
One other question, is it, for the $350 lease, is that just like volunteer things, or is it every bit of that anyone leases?
There is eligibility criteria that they have to meet. Also, they have to meet the definition of a community organisation.
That's not all council land, it's just, there's different definitions.
All the reserves have to meet the criteria.
So that's quite, it can change very easily.
Yeah.
Do you want to put a motion that council?
Well, I'd like to put a motion that council reconsiders its policy on reserve land rental fees. Yeah.
Has you got a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Right. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against it, any?
I'll abstain.
Through the chair too, so I've just noticed an error in the report, and it's actually the second right of renewal, not the final right of renewal. So I'm just wondering whether we can.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
34 to 40.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry.
We'll amend that to the second.
Yeah.
Instead of final.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a mover and second for it, please?
Can we include it into the,
Sorry?
including that into the motion, the adjustment?
Okay.
Is that what you're going to do?
You moved the first one, but second. So we can.
Okay, fine, thank you. Nicole, with a question of interest for the leasing of Mayfair reserves. Do you want to speak to that?
I'll take the report as read, but just as an overview, after the meeting of the 9th of April, and the resolution of the community board, we went out and advertised for expressions of interest to lease both the equestrian area and the wider reserve. This is the result of that process, and we received 4 expressions of interest. So this just analysed those and makes recommendations.
Do you want to speak to that?
It's the question of, obviously, it's said in the report that it can't be leased because it's the way it's set up as a reserve.
Yeah.
Can that be changed?
It can be changed. It's a process of the Reserves Act where you can reclassify all or part of a reserve. I would suggest if you wanted to follow that process that you reclassify the whole of the reserve. But if you wanted to reclassify a section of it, there would have to be we'd have to work out with parks and open spaces what part of the reserve to reclassify. Then it goes through a report to council. It needs a council resolution. It needs a letter to the minister as well. And then it goes out for consultation for a month. Following that, if there's submissions, they need to be heard. If not, we get a surveyor to survey off that piece of land. It's a process that can take up to 18 months.
Okay, so it's a doable process. I just think, I remember back at the meeting when we brought it up, it was discussed that the equestrian club uses there, but just one, we've got lots of empty land there that doesn't even seem to get used. We've got a lack of land for this sort of thing in Whangamatā, so I think we should look at the process of redefining that piece of land, and it would be a good community asset.
Yeah, I just want to add to what Council Member Eva says, that we had a local come up with some land recently and said, here's a piece of land, you can have it and use it, nothing. And then we went through the process of trying to use that land and found we just headlining into Whangamatā issues, state highway issues. So we've looked hard around this town. It's a mandate that this community board came together on to do something for the short-term accommodation in town. So there is a desire to actually push this forward. And I would be keen to see if the board's prepared to make that happen and go through the process. And while it pushes it out even further, at the moment, we've got no other options to look at, really. And if you look at the Mayfair Reserve, there is a section there for the equestrian centre. There in Europe, there's quite a bit of land there that's unused. Comes onto the Watt property there, or next door to I think it's Ted Little John's property, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to move a motion that we look at looking at the options around surveying a piece of the Mayfair Reserve for more than just its current status, but to suit the status for a short-term accommodation, something like that.
Through here, since you are talking about, potentially opening up an area of a reserve, there's probably other reserves as well in Whangamatā that you potentially could look at. So what staff could do is we could go away, do a quick little exercise about what some of those areas are. Also come back with something around the process that Nicole's just described and what types of resolutions you might need to make. And we could probably do that in the next month or so. Okay. If that then informs you.
Yeah, I think that's the right process. Have a look at what's going on. We've been around this once before, but we need to look at it.
Through the chair, what is the purpose of the accommodation, the temporary accommodation?
Yeah, so we bring a lot of people in here over the summer period. And we also have the one house staffing and those areas around town that we need to put accommodation over, mainly for the summer period. And what they find is they hire people and they haven't got accommodations because they can't get the job. And they can't live in Pyro and drive you every day for the kind of money that they expect to get to make it. So it's a requirement to try and have that facility when we're going from 4,000 people to 30,000 people. You need to be able to have the staffing to run the operations, retail areas.
Okay, well, we can certainly look into it, but that may be an issue under the Reserves Act, just if it's going to be used for accommodation.
Just to add on that, we've had a proposal put to us from the Business Association that we're working on for years. And they put a proposal through to use, like Terry said, a piece of land that we as a board actually found. And then TCDC staff advised us we can't use that piece of land. So this is just moving on from that. We're doing our best as they are to try and find a piece of land because it is a really big issue in town, workers' accommodation over that period.
Okay, thank you.
Some of the businesses in town have spent an exceptional amount of money to try and put accommodation on their own property or to buy property. And you're looking at the medical centre, the Whangamatā Club, people like that have brought houses because it's the only way that they can accommodate it. So it's financially, it's a burden on people within the community to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did you receive any expressions of interest out of time?
No.
Right.
So we're frame that so we could ask staff to go away and look at the options around what we're asking for. Maybe come back to the August meeting or whenever and just lay it out on the table us to see what are the better options for us or best options going forward.
So about the pony club then, we have to talk about the pony club then because that's the one that's up. So how do we?
Yeah, well, if we give them a lease, it's over the total reserve, isn't it?
That's just a licence to use the balance of the reserve. The only exclusive use that they have is for their building and for the actual
Equestrian centre.
Yeah.
Will that affect us moving forward if we?
No.
No. Okay. So I think you need to make sure that
Through the chair, is there a recommendation or a change to the resolution?
I'm just going to ask whether, so you've amended your motion, Terry?
Yeah, we'll amend a motion for staff to go away and look at options for short-term accommodation across the reserves in Whangamatā and come back to the meeting and allow us to look at the current recommendations around the leasing of the reserve.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for Terry's motion? Thank you. All in favour, I suppose, of the reserve.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a tough
All
one.
in favour, say aye.
Yeah.
Carried.
We have it with them.
Discretionary funding request.
Okay, so I'll take the report as being read, and do you want to go through each line, and discuss each line and approve each line, or do you want to do, actually want to have to do it like that, because the marks is clear, yeah, this makes the clear. It's not that here.
I think I might. I'm on the committee by virtue of being a community board member for the library. Is that a?
Then you've got a conflict.
And it's the same with Mark's, if it's not a financial issue, if you've got just a general discussion, you can be part of that, and you don't have to. If you feel you're not conflicted.
Yeah.
So the question is whether you want to go through line by line or you should just.
Yeah. Not by line.
Is it?
Absolutely clear.
Okay, so swimming pool. Are requesting 46,000. Now the board has got a couple of options, as with all of them. And that option is you can either grant the whole lot, you can grant part of it and decline part of it, or you can decline it.
Any comment from you?
So just a quick question, the full, the 46,000 is, I believe that's for operational costs. Is that what it's written down?
No, so that's the 46,000 is to help fund the shortfall and then refurbishment.
So that was my question. Sorry, so the operational costs that they haven't had from the time it's been open till now. Like, it's not costing them anything to be open now, if you know what I mean, but they get paid operational costs. Is that something that is added onto this, or is it?
Yeah, so in the LTP, as part of the 3-year partnership agreements, the pool gets, was 84,000 this, or 86,000 this year. And that's for their operational costs, and that is given to them with the CPI over 3 years. So this is completely different to the partnership agreement. This is a request for their refurbishment.
Just through the chair, I think this is a shortfall on the money, the program they put forward, and this is part of that refurbishment cost. And if you look at the numbers, they've really, I think, been very, very careful with their funding. And they've come across some issues like everything when you start a project like this, and they're trying to make it, best fit for the future. So, and I think we were looking at this either through the grant application and something that I think would be kept up to date with all the way through with what's going on there. So, my support.
Once they emptied the pool, they found that there were problems with leakage through the water. That was something that couldn't be anticipated before.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing about it is the fact that so many people are using it.
Yeah.
And the increase in figures that are in the Boston report show that it's a very keen thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do support making the grant, but I'm wondering why we're not looking just to tip. I mean, we talk about making a decision now out of our fund, or make a decision later out of retained earnings. Why don't we get the option of retained earnings? Well, because what happens with that money if we don't use it?
Retained earnings,
Yeah.
it stays within the community board's funds.
Yeah, well, so we don't know the magnitude of it. So why don't we just say that we're going to? Why can't we say we will grant the money that's sought? But in the first instance, we'll look to take it out of retained earnings, because otherwise, where does it go?
The retained earnings doesn't have until watch up.
I know that, but
It's not guaranteed.
But there's going to be something though, isn't there?
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
But it's
So the point I'm trying to make is that if we take it out of the discretionary fund, there is 46,000 that we can't use elsewhere in the community. Why can't we be saying, well, let's, as a first port of call, take what we can out of retained earnings and then top it up from the discretionary fund?
We can do that if there's money there.
Is there any idea of retained earnings?
We might know what the retained earnings is until September, October.
And I think that's a concern is in relation to timing.
Timing to paying the
Yeah.
accounts. Right.
We got an extra $30,000 put into the discretionary fund, and this is all going to be a discretionary, well, looking at all going to be based as a discretionary fund type grant. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Mark, that, you can't use that money for some other purpose, but
So if it's paid out of the discretionary grant, can the retained earnings, when they're known, can the amount be journaled back to the discretionary grant?
That's the point. That's the point. I mean, we have this retained earnings, which seems to be lost at the end of it all. But we could legitimately put that money into this.
The difference is this discretionary grant is community board can approve that. Retained earnings is a council decision.
Okay.
So
Applications are not applications.
yeah, so yeah, you can approve of discretionary, but you cannot approve any retained earnings. You can only recommend to council.
Well, we should recommend to council that they pay for their retained earnings. I mean, I know it's it might sound real negative, but the point we're trying to make is what happens to the retained earnings if every time we want to use it, we can't use it. But here is a real reason for the town to have some funding put into it, and retained earnings is an option, and I think we should be looking at it.
Yeah, and then it keeps the discretionary grant.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm happy to, that was one of the options we looked at. It was just getting the timing between the retained earnings and when the pool needed to put that money into to pay their contractors.
Okay, can you do it this way? Can you advance as from the community board by way of a loan to cover the shortfall, and then when if we can get the if we can get the retained earnings and then pay it back, and then they can repay us back?
Well, I think we could hold it in abeyance and say, don't pay it unless we've got that timing right. And then,
Yeah, I don't know the timing of it. I can ask.
Through the chair, the discussions that we had with the pool, and I don't know if anything's changed, were that they wouldn't need that money until September because they've got other incoming and outgoing. So it's a timing issue. So the two options, as I see it, is three options. You could either decide to defer your use of discretionary and then just wait a little bit and see what retained earnings looks like. If not, come back to the discretionary or use the retained earnings. The other thing you could do is spend your discretionary now, and then if you are in a position with retained earnings, there might be other projects that come along.
But then we're subject to council approving it.
Yeah, you'd be subject to council approving it, but if they're a worthwhile project, the same as the pool is a worthwhile project, then in instances in the past, the council has supported the board's recommendation.
Just seems to me that the pool is such a real opportunity to put retained earnings into and get approval from the council to do that. It's a real project. It's a great benefit to the town. That would be an easier ask than trying to find some other projects later on to use the retained earnings for. But I do support us trying to work our way through this
adding on to that, I'm not sure how this would work, whether we can put a motion forward to defer it now until ask the pool exactly what they need to get through to the retained earnings, so we can pay a little bit out of this now and pay the rest when they need it. We've got the retained earnings.
I was going to suggest that maybe go from 20,000 out of this for the time being, just in case they are bound by it, and then the rest when retained earnings.
But as Dean said, if they don't actually need it till September because they can use other funds, then I think we should wait.
Yeah. Is it a conversation we can have with the pool people and come back to that?
I think if we do that, we're going to have to wait and hold that money there in case we don't get any retained earnings.
Yeah, I really need to flag it to hold it. But at the same time,
we don't allow it for anything else. It's a big chunk of the discretionary that can sit there, which doesn't matter. We don't have to pay it the next week. So
I think under the grants, even though we're going to be looked at discretionary, there's $60,000 on the grants for contestable grants, which is going to be all of a discretionary grant, and there was $10,000 added to the $20,000 for the discretionary fund. So you could say take the discretionary fund of 30K and use it and keep the $60,000 for grants and then look at a pop up or don't spend it all till we get to the retained earnings. Then when we get into the work meeting, we'll be able to dig into that retained earnings discussion. I think it's a really good time to discuss it. We could do that if you give them some surety around, because it depends on when we can have the council meetings and committee board meetings are 6 weeks apart. Are we going to get our timing right for this? I just like to have some surety for them. So when they get to that point of time, they know there's money being allocated for them. At
So
least
if we don't know until September or the end of September, then the next council meeting would be October, November. So it's
so they're pushing it out, I think.
pushing it out further.
But I'd like to use that 30K and just put that and keep the 40 left within the grants for retained earnings. I think.
Then,
Yeah, just through the chair, so the timing of the next meeting, which is the 10th of September, is that correct?
Yeah.
So when we discussed with the pool committee in May, they were okay on a decision in September. Okay, so just to be clear, has anything has changed to the area manager's knowledge or anyone else's knowledge? That was their position.
So maybe, because we're moving, this is now, I'm going to talk about retained earnings after, it's difficult, but do we know what the current retained earnings are? Because they all get watched up at June 1st, July 1st.
Is it likely we would have more clarity, even though not an exact figure of retained earnings by the next meeting? A bit more clarity?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think we should postpone this. I think we should approve the payment, but where it comes from should be delayed as to.
I think we all agree we want to pay it, but paying it the most beneficial way for our community board. Yeah. If they don't need the money till September, we can relook at this in another meeting, is that correct?
So we could defer this to the September meeting this week.
I think we're all in agreement we want to pay it, but it's how we pay it.
Do we need to pass something for the council that we fully support this? At least have a resolution for that, and we can try it. Try it.
Yes, we're all in agreement to pay it, then it's just how we want to pay it.
So you will make resolution in September, Gary.
What?
You'll know the retained earnings by then, so you usually take it to the meeting. Yeah. That's
Well, we need something to go to the council in this meeting to say what we're doing.
So do it now.
Because we have to sign these minutes off at council.
So your resolution will be saying that that request is declined, but it's been deferred. The request has been deferred to your September meeting for retained earnings.
Well, not declined, it's been deferred.
Deferred.
Yeah,
But
not
We're
declined.
accepting we want to pay it, yeah, it's support it. Payment.
Yeah, we didn't say we support.
Yeah, we're deferring the funding options until September.
Through the chair, it would be something along the lines of just defer the decision on the Whangamatā Community Board until the September meeting, when the position around retained earnings would be known. And just for the board, if you remember what happened last year, in September, we had got to the position where we had a retained earnings amount in terms of our balance sheet, but it was unaudited. And so what we did is we passed a resolution that said, subject to confirmation by that. And if you remember, the finance manager was confident and able to give a position of confidence at that time. And I expect in September we'd be in the same boat.
I think you need to also be aware of that retained earnings only come from work that was not completed and carried over. So if we haven't got the jobs to do, you don't get the retained earnings to do it. You know, in the last couple of years, we've really chopped our project back. So without those projects not being completed or not even being done, there's no retained earnings. So we have to be mindful of what's going to happen.
So they 46,000 and they're not spend it as a backdrop. We're going to be.
I'd like the word in their support, but defer.
Yes.
Well, we've got a motion on the table. Should we remove this for the time being and do the motion for the rest of them so that they're approved, and then we do a motion for this? So,
well, you've got no declared an interest for the hard care ones, that has to be a separate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd like to put the rest first, go back this week or the end.
So you want to hold this harbour care and,
Well, are you suggesting we just approve all the other things?
yes,
Oh,
We've got to go through.
okay, no, I
Don't need to go through them.
Yeah, I think we go through them and then come back to the decision at the end, so we have a balance. That work?
okay. Community library, $5,000.
You support this 100%.
yeah, I support it.
Harbour care, $1,668 for bird signage on the harbour.
Yeah, I have a question there. Harbour Care, I wasn't able to access any of their recent records under the Charities Act or the Incorporated Societies Act. They haven't filed anything since 2020. I wonder why they have not approached Waikato Regional Council, because that's something really the Regional Council should help fund. Yeah, that's just an observation.
I understood from the discussion when he came to our meeting some time ago was that they get money for weed killer and stuff like that that they need and for the that type of thing. But this here is an actual signage one. So
So this is a sign that's going on our reserve. They do get funding, quite a lot of funding from WRC for the tracking program.
yeah,
Okay.
I support it.
I support it.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, okay.
After the presentation, I think it was great.
And costs associated with administrative expenses.
Yeah, so this was the club package that we put out, and we got extra $5,000 into the grants, or 50 grand actually, the grants to help do this, so support these groups so they can maintain their ability to do what they're supposed to do, and it picks up the expensive costs around accounting and IT, I think. I support this.
In saying that though, they should have done a return within that period of time, and that hasn't been done, has it?
I think, I don't know how the rules go now.
Well, they're supposed to do an annual return each year. They're 3 years out of date.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I've made a note of that.
I think it's just in line with the rest that we paid as fair, and like Terry said, it's put in there for that reason. Yeah, so I support that one.
Whangamatā indoor bowls costs associated with the haulage and storage fees at the Whangamatā Memorial Hall, the $1,075.
Yeah, I oppose that. Reason being is I think if you're a member of a club, you should support your club and pay for those things. That seems to be a core function of that group, is to have a hall hireage and storage. Again, I couldn't even find them on the incorporated societies or the charities registration. I don't know what that's called, but yeah, for that reason, I oppose it.
We're having a discussion later about halls, etc., but I agree this is a hall that is managed by council. Has some cost. There is a hireage also bearing that hall, so I've got a bit of a mixed feeling about this too. So yeah, I don't know.
We leave it in the middle.
Yeah, go 50-50, I suppose.
Pay 50%.
Yeah, we want these groups to maintain and be part of it, but this is actually a council hire hall. It's not like it's a Higawai or a Poultry Hall where it's managed by small groups. What do you think?
I think also you've got to consider that there are a lot of people on pensions that play this.
Yeah, so it
Insurance.
annoys me. We have to pay for a hall which we're already being paid for by the government, built by the locals extensions, and we pay depreciation and maintenance on them, and we still got to pay to use them. So it's an issue from that.
But we could just, I mean, if you're not going to, I'm not going to talk about it. Basically, if we pay this, what we're doing is offering the hall to them free of charge. 2%.
Yeah, we are.
Which is, I think, I actually support it. It's a big group of people. I've never been to it, but there's a lot of people around town in Bay and balls.
We want these groups to, they're part of the fabric of the town.
If there's a large group, I mean, if you pay $20 a year and there's a large group of them, you only need 50 people to pay the jolly fees, don't you? What else do they spend the money on? We don't know. It's got nothing.
Well, they need the hall to do this particular.
Yeah, I know, but $20 a year, I mean, for 50 people, if they can't come up with that, I wouldn't support it. They're not interested.
Well,
The rest don't have any books or paperwork wrong.
No, we got
So
nothing.
we don't know.
I mean, at the very least, I'd be happy to defer it until they can supply something.
that's a hard one. If it was a local hall, I'd be saying, why they need to pay for a local hall, which is put there for local people to run, but this is a council managed hall, is that right?
This is just, yeah.
So there's lots of people who want to pay money towards running of that show. And I'm sort of, I want these groups to maintain and be part of the fabric. That's what
They've got to have skin in the game, haven't they?
got to have skin in the game, and this is a particular sport that they play in. It's like pickleball a little bit, isn't it? But this has got a forage as part of the gear that goes there. Forage, one of the.
Yeah, so,
So there's a forage fee there, so.
yeah, so council set the fees through the LVP, fees and charges for that hall. The council's policy is that they cannot waive fees, somebody has to pay, so that's why they come to the community board. So storage fees down there at the hall, where's the roller doors that you've got there. So that's where they store all their mats and so that's another fee on top that they pay, and that's a yearly fee.
I suggest we pay them a percentage. I'll offer them a percentage of it, not the whole thing.
What about 550, would you?
Yeah, I'll go 550.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will comment on that? So it's moved by Terry, seconded by me, $550 instead of the 1,075. All in favour, say aye.
Aye. Yeah, better go again.
Against? Carried. Whangamatā Croquet Club, costs associated towards the repairs and maintenance of the building, 1,725. This is for the repairing of the roofs, taking the nails out which are leaking and putting in rubber seals and screw for the roof area.
Is this the one that just got the local toilet recently?
That's a separate building.
Separate building.
Yeah, they have to do the whole lot.
Yeah, because they paid consent and did the whole thing, didn't
Who owns the club?
The land is owned by council, and they pay $350 a year.
That's right, and we own the building.
Correct.
No, they don't.
They own the building.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Again, I'm saying the same thing. The members ought to pay for that. As at 31st of March, they had 19,000 in their check account and a term deposit of 10,644. You know, I don't think that's something that council should pay for when they've got money in the bank and can pay for it themselves.
But the money in the bank, if you read through, you'll see that they are presently got quotes in relation to painting of the building.
Yeah, again, though, it's.
They,
I look at it from other perspectives, like, you know, you look at the swimming pool, they raised through sponsorship 689,000, you know, so they've got off their backside and done stuff, you know, and I don't think council should be an easy option to just, let's ask council, you know, let's not bother and do things ourselves. I don't know, I just have a concern that, you know, let's just ask council for money, we get money, you know, and then it puts.
I think they're looking for facilities so they can do their particular activity.
Yeah.
So to do that, they have to go out and build a building to do it. Whereas other buildings, like if you're in a hall that's built by the council or maintained by the council, looked after by the council. Whereas this is a group outside that is doing its own thing,
Yeah.
but still providing an activity for the town.
Let me ask you this question. If you're a member of the Baptist Church, which I am, and you had a need for a new kitchen, and that is also used for community purposes in the sense that sometimes they have funeral things there, sometimes they have kids programs this week. Is that something we should be asking the council for money for, or should the members of the church pay for it? And I look at it this way, it's up to the members of the church. I mean, it's their it's their thing. And yet, so we've gone ahead and paid for the extensions of the kitchen and improved all of that without council assistance. But I feel a bit funny coming to the council asking something for that, which is a specialised thing. If you like, it's you could say it's for the community, but it's also for the members. And I see the Croquet Club as the same sort of similarity, really. This is a group of people who get together to play croquet. They've got that in common. And so if they're committed to their thing, surely they should pay for it. That's the way I see it.
The Baptist Church, do they pay rates?
I don't know. No, did these guys pay rates?
Yes.
350 a year or whatever?
No, that's the rent they pay.
Yeah, it's more or less now. Yeah.
Sorry. To add on to that, like we say there about them, if you look on their things, they've done raffles, they've done tournaments, they've done beach shop parking, they've helped with the half marathon, they've done a lot to bring money into the company, and they're not asking for all of this to fix the roof. They're going to have to pay thousands themselves and asking for a small book. It's a different way to look at it.
I think that's the thing around it is how much they prepare to go with themselves, but how much they have for council. So it used to be, they used to ask everything, and now they're only asked proportionate. But I do think if they put it in terms of maybe in an event they were putting on for funds, there seems to be far more attraction to that as opposed to building repairs. And I think that was what we looked at in the last way we looked at these grants, is that if it was for an event or for something like that, that would bring you benefit into the community. Repairs on buildings was always a struggle to kind of handle.
If you look back on last year, they got grants 6,900 for that. So they do go out and get their own money for it, but obviously they couldn't get it this year because grants have shot back down from those foundations. But so I think that out of all the presentations, they presented something pretty good.
Any more comment? So there's a motion on the floor, all in favour of the payment to Whangamatā Croquet Club, say aye.
Aye.
Against it, any? Carried.
It's not the resolution, so it's, if you haven't done the others, so that's tough.
Yes.
So the next one is, Carol's in the Park, 2273.
We've supported us in the past, so I don't know whether they up on a truck or into the Williamson Park. What does this cover? Cost of the transportation, I suppose, and putting it on. So
Well, they do the free concert and everything.
yeah, I support it. It's just it's always about where it's going to be held. Is it in the back of a truck or is it going to be at the Wellington Park?
But normally,
Is it Williamson Park?
So it's been out there for a long time. I support that. I think it's a great idea. They might go down there as well. It's Christmas Eve.
No
And
problems.
the last one is Whangamatā RSA 3577 for their Anzac Day expenses for 2025.
They're very nice to support this. RSA does its own events in-house, pays for them, looks after them. This is a community event they're taking outside their organisation for the benefit of the town, and they have a huge following for us. I support this.
I oppose it. Reason being is that's one of the main purposes of the RSA is to celebrate and cause remembrance on Anzac Day, and that's why they're established. And so, you know, for them to ask for money for something that they're set up to do seems a bit rich to me. Again, you know, they're a profitable organisation, and
I don't think they're very profitable at the moment.
Their revenue last year was to 30th of June 23 was 958,000. Their expenses 937. They had a $20,000 surplus. So 3,000. I don't see why again members of the RSA can't support that should be their main purpose of having the RSA pretty much.
I think they're doing that, but they could do it inside the RSA and not invite anybody. They could bring this out to the community outside their organisation and letting the town be part of it. And if you look, it's been, you know, there's been a lot of money putting up a special memorial. They've got a lot of information, stuff they do inside the club, which they pay for themselves. This is coming out into the community and saying, here we are, this is our annual event. And we're asking for you to support it, not pay for it all.
And they turn up, there's a lot with the band that marches with them.
Yeah, it's only, this is not the total cost, this is just asking council for their support, and also it gives the community an understanding that they are supported by the community if the council community board supports it.
There's food put on.
I know, I see it does there for the briefly.
And you've got the entertainment that goes on there. I think the important thing here is the amount of young people that are being involved in this as well. So, you know, it's, we've got to keep them interested too. I support it.
But just to recap through that, so is it a separate resolution required with the defer? So defer, so Whangamatā Community Board. Sorry?
So through the chair, you can do that separate resolution to call it the deferral as well as everything else that you want.
Just one resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Whangamatā Community Board, that decision has been deferred to September. The Whangamatā Community Library is 5,000, Harbour Care 1668, Whangamatā Harbour Care again 2155, Indoor Bowls 550, Whangamatā Karakia Club 1725, Carrollton Park 2273, Whangamatā RSA 3577. That brings the total of grants today is 16,948, which leaves a balance of $73,052 in your discretionary fund.
Can I just add that where we're deferring the swimming pool, we're doing it as a matter of tactics. We support the grant.
Yes.
But we are just trying to see if we're
Trying to get the right
Misuse of the money.
Yeah.
Can that be worded in this when you're trying to say something that we do support the?
Well, I think Gary said they want support work coming in there and then defer to look at the better options for funding, which.
So through the chair, that can be noted in.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next one is the community service. Second. Have a second, please, for their Terry. Thank you. The Community Services Awards. Summary.
Yeah, kia ora koutou. Through the chair, just wanted to bring this report. It's for your information that we are looking to have the proposed 2024 Community Service Awards process be overseen by the community boards. So on page 70, you'll just see the process of what we would like to do in terms of the awards. So at your next community board meeting, we will go through the nominations and that's where we will select 2 people for the award. At the following community board meeting, we will hold a morning tea with the successful recipients. And we hope to have Mayor Lynn here also and attend it. If anyone has any questions?
Thank you for that. Any questions for?
Very clear.
How's that going to be publicised for people to be aware of it?
Through the chair, we are working with the comms team, so there'll be a nomination period and that will end, that will start at the end of next week and we'll go for a 4 to 5 week period. So we will be pumping
Is that like local papers?
Yeah, local papers, local website.
Okay.
With the recommendation.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions on that? So the recommendation is that the Whangamatā Community Board receives the 2024 Community Service Awards reported a report dated the 3rd of July 2024. And there's two attachments to that, A and B. Eligibility criteria and the award nominations form for 2024. Any comments? All in favour, say aye. Carry.
Need us moving this.
Can go first, you moved and second by your report.
Yeah, just move the second.
All right, move in second, sorry.
Happy to move.
I'll second.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
Make request for service. Yeah. Adrian is going to speak in relation to request for service.
So we already have a chat. So I'm the customer services manager, and I'm here to provide you a quarterly report or the 3 months report of what services we provide in our customer services team. Basically, the first chart of the report just is an overview of how many calls and RFSs we log. The second one is how many emails we receive from the community per month. We talk about March to May. And one of the other charts of what services we provide in our team as a customer services is the front desk foot traffic. In teams, we hold 50% of the foot traffic between AA and teams. And for Whangamatā Board, we have 80% of the foot traffic. Basically, our customer services team is to achieve the KPI of answering 80% of the calls at the first point of contact. Also, in the next chart of the page number 2, in the last chart of the page number 2, you can see that the total amount of RFSs or requests for services we log breakdown per word. You can see that we have in Whangamatā 532 RFSs. In the next chart, initially I give you guys an update of what was our RFS project about, our request for services about. It was have two main purposes. The first one is to ensure that TCDC contact the customers with the outcome of the RFSs. We have been implementing an automatic notifications to ensure as soon the RFS is complete, the request for service is complete, the customers will receive an email notifying them that your RFS has been complete, your job has been done, but also is to raise the awareness for all our action officers that we need to ensure the customer, we contact the customers as soon the job is complete. So far for this implementation, we have a very nice response from the customers, especially from tax and reserves. So the customer has a very positive feedback. They have been contacting us many occasions, very pleased for receiving a notification that the RFS has been complete. Also, we have completed this implementation for the departments who work alongside with our contractors, which are these departments, first and reserves, roading, water services, and solid waste. Now, what happened with the regulatory department, who is regulatory, duty planning, and building? These departments provide a service with TCDC staff. So these departments have a regular contact with the customers. They interact daily with the customers. So we haven't implemented the automatic notifications, but they are part of this RFS project, which is the awareness of ensure we contact the customers. So far, it's a very good result and very good perceptions. We are very happy with the outcome of the project. Now, the second part of this report is to give you an overview and also to provide a perspective of how many RFSs each department, the top 6 departments, how many RFSs they complete versus how many orifices is still open or still under investigation. So for the first 3 months in this report, which is for the last 3 months, which is March to May, you can see the charts for every single department. So the highest departments for Whangamatā Ward was building department, who complete 128 orifices. Then we have solid waste, we have a high demand, 125 orifices complete for the last 3 months, and water services, 139 orifices. So the next part, this is the last part of the report that we provide, is based on the feedback that we received from you in the last quarter, is how many orifices is still open or outstanding for those departments for the last year. So every single manager of each department provide an overview, a comment to understand what is the dynamic of the work and how the time frames. What is the dynamic of the time frames to complete the orifices? So for those departments that we have in the infrastructure who work alongside with contractors, so those departments have a service level agreement with these departments and have different time frames and KPIs organized. So there is some examples. If we see Whangamatā for the last 12 months, we have complete 465 orifices for park and open spaces, and 32 orifices are outstanding. And then some orifices are require special investigation. There is an example that the manager of parks and park and open spaces provides for us about how the time frames behave. One target, for example, the target for cleaning urban toilets is 1 hour, and mowing lawns is 5 working days. So also another thing that we would like to highlight here is for roading. So in roading, they have program works that can be complete to have urgent orifices or requests for service can be complete very soon. However, some program works have to take several months to be complete. So for roading in the Whangamatā Ward, we have been complete for the last year, 346 orifices and still open, 40 orifices is still open and under investigation. And the same for water services. Water services, Brett, who is here connected with us in this meeting, he provides an overview of what are the timeframes that we manage with water services. And he explained that so many water services, some of connections require a longer investigations that will be up to 12 months. This is basic, and this is very interesting. Thank you for your request, because provide you with the perspective of how many orifices we have complete compared with how many orifices are open. Now, if you have a specific case or a specific orifice that is still under investigation or open, you just please let me know, and we are happy to provide you with the detail of investigation of this specific orifice. All right. There is any questions? No. No.
Very good.
I like. And the last one. Sorry. And the last chart that we provide to you guys is because when I was presenting this data, we talk about how the peak periods behave. So peak periods for CBC is 1st of December until 1st of January. So you can identify in the last chart that normally, what is the difference? The departments have pretty much the same volume of requests for services, and in solid waste is the novelty. If we compare 2020 to 2023 peak period with 2023 and 2024, of course, we have the highest volume in solid waste because of the transition. Now, solid waste, the customers adjust to the new solid waste system and become normal. And basically, if we compare the volume of orifices that we have this year in July with last year, it's still pretty much same, pretty much normal, and it's well perceived. So this is from me. And there is a recommendation that to align this report quarterly with our financial year, with council financial year. So the next quarter that we will provide you with the data will be the quarter aligned with the financial year that starts this month. There is any questions or any other information you guys want to say?
Just in relation to the rubbish collection, etc., there's been a lot of discussion about the tags being removed from the containers. Do you know whether you get many of the complaints about that through the?
Usually we get a lot of complaints because customers doesn't have the education of how to
attach it.
To attach the tag, but now it's not many, to be honest. And we have a report, monthly report, or the report can break down, but any time frame about how many complaints we have for tags. In reality, we don't have much, but it's still every now and then that the tag was stolen.
Yeah.
Or the tag was broken, but it's something interesting that definitely can be considered by the solid waste manager. We always report to her every single complaint that we have with regards to.
Thank you.
Why is the address put on the tag?
I'm not sure about that, but I'm not sure.
I suggested they put your name on the tag so if someone does steal it, but they put it on the wrong side.
Oh, it will be kind of personalized, like will be another whole new project. Interesting to consider.
Through the chair, that's probably a technical question for the solid waste manager, but Eileen can, like.
That's no big deal, I just.
So I think the other big assuming that if there's a tag on there that said that the person was in Grand Street, they were picking it up on Mulu, then it was.
Well, I don't even know. Look at it.
They don't know. They just drive, they don't look at it. He looks at the truck. But a question on, I mean, the aside, the question I have asked before, can we have a report on the efficiency or how the waste collection is actually working, perhaps even in Whangamatā, because you drive down the road after on collection day and there's a lot of tags lying on the road, so people pick them up, use them again and put them back on their bins because they've figured out how they can put them on without them being ripped off. And I suggest that perhaps the whole collection process is really inefficient and it's not making waste management very much money at all. And perhaps we're going to look at a price increase. I don't know if it's allowed in contract or not.
We're going to do a full review on it coming up this year, so that we can.
But could you get some community input into that then?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be quite a few comments. It's been one of those pretty testing tasks that we really followed government guidelines when it came into 3 or 4 years ago and we had to do it. But it's proven to be problematic in some areas for sure.
Can I have a mover and seconder to receive the customer service request for service report from the 1st of March 2024 to the 31st of May 2020? That was a second. All in favour, say aye.
And a quick note of thanks to for the work put into this. I think it's really good to get this reporting and give us an understanding of where the issues are. So well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The CAPEX program next.
Here we're still waiting on data to come online. But we have Luke basketball on there.
Luke, can you hear us?
Luke, were you coming in to speak to the report or were you just listening in?
G'day everybody, Luke Archibald. Day 2 in role, so I'm here to listen and learn, I guess. Glenn shouldn't be too far away to present.
It looks like Glenn's presenting.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm not sure if we've got Brett on the line as well, but Brett is actually attending a hearing at the moment, but he said that he would try and make himself available. If you remember at the last board meeting, there was a discussion around trying to have a little bit more transparency with the Whangamatā Stormwater Improvement Project. And so for all of the things that the chair has asked for us to do is we're going to be making sure that the minutes of the Stormwater Community stakeholder engagement meetings, attached to your agenda packs after the meetings have happened. So the meeting that was referred to is happening in July. At your next meeting, you'll be able to see a copy of the minutes. Those same minutes will be added to the website. Brett will make sure that it comes to the work programme report alongside Glenn, or it will be Luke now. And then also at our networking, we'll make sure that Dave and Terry have got a chance to sort of give you the elected members' views on how it's all panning out. But I'm not sure.
You've got Glenn online,
Giving them time.
and I've messaged Brett to say that we're in the program now.
Morning, Brett, are you with us?
Glenn is now.
Brilliant.
Good morning. Apologies, I just had to reboot my laptop for it to let me in the meeting. So I'm just reopening files again.
There's Brett too.
Oh, there's Brett. So did you want to go straight to the stormwater then, or you've got Brett?
Yeah, Brett, suit you to speak first, so that if you have to very least be you.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
No.
I can hear him through that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Right. I just had to come out of the hearing. To give you an update, we are very pleased with the work that the project delivery team have done at Williamson Park. It appears to be working well. We were very keen to see yesterday whether there was significant water going into the pond, but I haven't had an update on that at this time. But from the one about 3 weeks ago, it filled the pond and then cleared very quickly. Because of the focus on that, we have not had another stakeholder engagement team. And also we were awaiting the approval of the long-term plan, which was then allocating 9.17 million to stormwater improvements in Whangamatā. That has now been approved by council, and the next stage for us is to take the 20 odd items that we have identified from our walk around, and we plan to meet on the 24th of July to prioritise those as a stakeholder group, and then they will be reviewed by the staff and allocated to the project delivery team to start work. The aim is that all the design, reviews, etc., which will include some input from the stakeholder team, will be done by around December, and construction will start by around January to complete by June next year. That is going to be a good exercise for the team to work together and look at the overall benefit, the added value that each of the work items will do. I can't preempt what the discussion will be, but we have indicated that we know we need to work on the discharge points and work upstream. So that may well influence some of the projects we're doing.
But
Right.
just, sorry, your information this morning, the water level was at the base of the pipe, so it was just level with the outlet pipes on both.
Oh, good.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Brett, it's Gary here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Gary.
As you are aware, earlier this year, you contacted me in regard to Friends of Williamson Park and wanted our involvement, and we were able to provide information to you, particularly from one of our members who is a civil engineer who is specialised in stormwater, correct?
Yes.
And the understanding was the wetlands were proceeding, and they've now gone into stage 1, a dry bed, and then stage 2 if necessary. My understanding is the change of mind on that was due to representations made to you by one person. Am I correct?
It was a general feeling, yes, it was voiced by one person, but we also believe that we needed to prove that we needed a wetland. It was not going to significantly increase costs if we did it as 2 stages. And when we went back to WRC to ask, can they state to us that they categorically want a wetland, their comment was they support our decision. So we felt that a good way of introducing a wetland was to prove that it was necessary.
Right. We had direct communications for some months over the wetland. Why did you not get hold of us to let us know that this is what you were doing? You were going to...
That decision was made very late, just before we started, and that was my decision, Gary. Unfortunately, I think you were away at that stage.
Yes, but I do have an email.
I apologise, Gary. I was very lax in communication with the community board as well as yourself for the Friends of Williamson Park. I apologise for that.
Brett, Neil Evans, is there a stormwater master plan, or is it just piecemeal with the various projects?
The stormwater master plan, what I'm calling the master plan, is the projects that we are doing under that 9.17 million. That is what I am calling the stormwater master plan.
Okay.
It does not include several items that other people have asked for. That has not been incorporated into that stormwater master plan. It is more about the capital projects.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Brett? Thank you, Brett. Appreciate you.
I just want one quick one, Brett. I just wanted to say a quick thanks to the contractors, EPL, on their project there. I think they did it very professionally. They were very organised, and the weather was kind for them, which was good. But it looked like it went really well. So, yeah, pass on our thanks for the work done today.
We will do. I must say we've got the sampling purchase order issued. It would have been nice to have done some of the sampling this week, but we will be doing at least 2 or 3 storms, looking at the results of those, and then coming back and letting the community board and Friends of Williamson Park know what is the final outcome of, do we go to the wetland or not. I've got my own feelings on that, but I want facts to make that decision.
Just one quick question. The trees in Williamson Park around the pond, do they stay or do they go?
It appears that we've taken out the trees that we are going to take out. Okay. But if we find that the pond is deteriorating the subsoil around the existing trees, then they may go as well. But at this point in time, we have left some trees.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions for Brett? Thank you very much.
Oh, one more.
Yep.
Do you think a commission of inquiry, inverted commas, on stormwater in Whangamatā is a good idea? We've just had that suggestion brought to us this morning.
Gary, it was an independent commission.
Oh, sorry, independent commission of inquiry.
I'm not aware of that. I've not listened to the submissions. I'm sorry, I've been involved in the hearing. I would have to consider what has been presented before I could give an opinion.
We may need your assistance.
Nothing further. Thank you, Brent, for the third time.
Thank you very much. I'll leave it to you, Glenn.
Can we go through this line by line? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. What's Glenn talking?
But Glenn presenting the work programs, if Terry wants to go online, it's like Glenn's online to answer any questions.
Welcome, Glenn. Thank you for attending. Gary?
So good morning, Glenn.
Good morning.
So our discussion early on in the meeting was around the retained earnings. So as we go through today's work program, could you confirm that work that has been rolled over or carried over, those retained earnings will become part of the, go into retained earnings for the community board to look at? Can you confirm which ones will and which ones won't?
No. So I after the conversation yesterday, I checked with finance around the query that was raised there, and the answer I got back was that if it's a loan-funded project, then if we haven't drawn down the loan, that doesn't create, like we haven't spent the money, what that results in is less debt, not more cash floating around, if that makes sense.
So I just need to confirm then, I'll go to one, which is the Nip Curb construction, which is a locally funded project.
Yep.
There's a couple of $100,000 there that weren't spent. Will that become retained earnings?
I would need to check with finance because it will. That would have been a loan funded project because it's not a renewals project.
Is it loan funded?
Well, if it's an upgrade project.
It's a rated project, local rates.
Okay, but when we spend capital money, I would need to double check. We normally for capital projects we normally loan fund them unless there's money in the reserve, and then what the rates are going for is to pay the loan off, not to pay the whole of that lump sum in that year. But I'm not familiar with. I didn't put that project in the funding for that project in the LTP, so I'll need to go and check on that. That's just my sort of
my understanding was paying our local rates, but you have a look at it, please. Yeah. We're looking towards retained earnings, so we're just wondering where it's coming from.
I really marked by that.
I'll go.
Okay. So would rather than going line by line, would it be better for me to take the full list away and just ask for finance to confirm what's there? Because we've plumbed the depths of my specific knowledge on the finances for those projects now.
So the one I'd like to raise then is the dump station. Could you just give us an update on that, please? Have they done the design? Are they going to start site works?
Yeah, so as per the notes here, so we've finalised the detailed design, and we're about to go out to market for construction with the requirement there that that'll definitely be done before Christmas. But we'll need to find out who wins the contract and confirm their timeframes.
Right, November would be great because at the start of the month it'll be better. So hopefully it'll become clear. Yeah.
Glenn, I think the other point that makes it more urgent is the fact that the other one's just hanging on, and if that packs up, we are really in it. So it would be a lot better if it could be brought forward as opposed to stretched
sooner rather than later. Yeah, understood.
Thank you.
Good Chair, I have a couple of, or one question, but footpath rehabilitation, streetlight renewals, you've got program completed. I guess that means that you set a new program for this coming financial year, do you? Or I mean, surely we haven't fixed all the streetlights and all the footpaths.
No, so yeah, that kind of work normally sits in a rolling annual program. So we'll have new budget available to us now for so our next CAPEX report that will come to the board will detail our new budgets for this year.
Thanks. Just a quick one through that. The footpath program relied on 50% subsidy from Whangamatā, which was lost for a few years. Does that come back for next year?
I would need to check with Ed on that, but I would have thought that the transport works are generally track some kind of a fare subsidy.
Glenn, in relation to parks and reserves, the one behind the fire station, we were disappointed to hear that the money that was set aside has disappeared, and it's now in fact going to Whangamatā to have work done there. The point is that apparently, according to local reports in the newspaper and people that have spoken to us, there's a health and safety issue on that park, and whether in fact it should be closed until such time as funding is sufficient to carry out the work. Apparently the seating, etc., they deem to be dangerous in there for children.
Okay, well, I will raise that with the parks manager and whether, I guess the approach there, following, just confirming that, would either be to remove those specific items, or if there's some way that we can undertake some maintenance on them that will allow us to sweat the asset a bit longer until a proper replacement can be carried out.
Thank you.
So that would be really good, Glenn, because I have grandchildren and I know people who have young children, and they just decide themselves at the state place.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else for Glenn? All right. Thank you, Glenn. Nothing else, Terry?
No, nothing else you should tell us, Glenn, about, there's not much going forward. We'll do the LTP, won't we, with Eileen's going to do that, aren't you? Oh, yeah, okay. Nothing further.
Okay. Well, thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mama.
Could I have a mover and seconder for Glenn and Brent's reports, please? Somebody move it?
Yep.
Seconder. Thank you. And Chairperson's report. I take it you.
Action schedule, the action schedule.
Oh, action schedule.
No.
Any comment in relation to the action schedule?
I'd just like to add one if I can. To the point, piece of paper, I've lost it.
Well, I got a question over here. We have the zebra crossing.
Yeah.
I don't recall that we actually supported that in that we didn't know what it was, so we haven't been given the information where it is. We still need to have a discussion on it now.
I did send the board an email showing the location.
Yeah, no, I got that, but we haven't actually had a discussion whether or not we were going to support where it was, because we didn't even know where it was.
Yeah.
Didn't we defer?
We deferred it because exactly that, we were told it was going on that corner, but we're sure where, so we were to
Come back to
defer
discussion.
till whatever we had most of where it was actually going. So no,
So we do need to have it as a team right for the next.
Yeah.
Team meeting, yeah.
yeah, it needs to be the next one because
Yeah.
going with that, it's that place until last round.
Yeah. I'd just like to add one to the.
Yeah.
Okay, controversial one, but Island View car park. The moving of those freedom campers that we thought maybe up into the car sealed area away from the beach area. And do we turn this into a car park, freedom camping area that, what's going to happen?
We're talking about the new car park.
The new car park, is it going to be a car park or a freedom car park area? Or can we move the freedom campers for them up onto the tar sealed area, the flat piece, and keep that as a car park for general public? What's the issue around that?
So I can follow that up with the regulatory team, because they're the one, because there would need to be a change to the parking bylaw to start with. But
They did say it couldn't fit within that site though. You know, they had an area that they said it could move from one to the other.
So we'll follow that up. So we'll put that on the action schedule and we'll follow that up with Brian's team.
We really need it done before Christmas though.
You're saying the area would be better for them to be on the sealed bit.
On the flat sealed
Sealed
bit,
bit, yeah.
take them away from the angle.
And away from the road.
And away from the road,
Yeah.
and they could become the area, and then the freedom car park that was designed will become a car park.
Yes. for people, but it actually makes more sense because it's harder to turn around in there. Yes. And it's big line things. Yes.
So we'll put that on the action schedule.
Yeah, okay. It'd be good to have that resolved.
By summer, you're right.
Anything else in relation to the action schedule? So just in relation to the action schedule, can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please?
I don't want to
Yeah. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Chairperson's report. It's pretty short and sweet this time because of the fact that of me being sick, but I do sincerely thank the board and Eileen for the support that they gave me during that, and also to Dennis for the sterling job that he did standing in as chairperson. I do hope to attend meetings from now on. According to the specialist, I'm in remission, which is terrific, and we'll just see how we go from there. Right. Thank you.
Good news, it's going to be back.
Yeah.
Can somebody move?
Yeah. Second.
Thank you. Anything else? Yeah. So I close the meeting at 11:47. Thank you very much for attending.
Do we do the LPP now?
Tonight we're going to have lunch and then you've got your workshop on the roll.
Okay.
Heather and Rose.
And we won't finally get respectful, we don't stay and listen to it for a second.
Up to you. Completely up to you. So before you go, it was only very thing to give these out. These were the documents. Okay.
Sorry.
It's the.
All the staff.
We need the.
That's what we want. Yes. So we're taking it below. There's no projects. It's going to be given up. I said,
It's right.
For the purpose. So that's why. Last, if you happen to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then was there were codes.
Yeah.
Got. It's open guys, but you know, they're. It's a more.
Well, they say that they will find people the it's not even part of it.
Probably bigger. We still have.